Hello, my name is Shine Schwinn, and I am entering in the Indi track for shadowing. And I have decided to do two of my disciplines, both writing and art. I do traditional and digital art, so I have two examples for those. I decided to do number 10, Crystal, Parallel, and Agent, and I wrote a intro to a video game that I have wanted to make, and then we have two characters. So I'm going to start off with Gale. Gale is Agent Gale Snow. She is an agent for a company. I think this is my favorite helmet that I've made. There's a few different things that you could probably use. I may do it to where you can get different clothes or something, or I may just keep the outfits as how they are made. But this is basically just a digital concept of Gail's work, and then this is the fine art version of it. Everything's done in graphite. This is just basically a concept sketch of all these designs and all the textures that I'd want to make for these. It's more of a sketchy look. I don't know if I'd make it more realistic or cartoonish, but that's just an idea for that. So that was Gale, and then we have a character that I bought the rights to, Minty the Protogen. Protogens are both robotic and organic material, and this is Minty. So this is the creature or the playable character that's going to be represented in the script, and then Gale is the character here, a white wolf. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a read. I made everything on September 9th. I'm just recording it today. For this assessment, I decided to use my skills in creative writing to create a script/storyboard introduction scene for a video game that takes place in multiple universes. So the camera is from the front left corner of the creature, wraps around, and goes down to the bottom right of the creature, showing the whole scene. Pardon me. The screen fades from black. A creature with fluffy, dark, and light gray fur and an oblong face with a smooth texture, glowing green, comes into frame. The hall it walks down is a corridor of some kind of spaceship. As you can see, the spaceship is moving by the bits of space rock that passes the large window to the creature's right. As it walks, there's a soft sound from its almost dog-like paws on the black carpet that lines the hallway floors. The rest of the ship is a light gray metal and has a dull shine to it. It's pretty old, so it's not super shiny or new or anything. The ship is dark. The floor lights give off a hint of light to brighten the walkway a bit. So pretty much, it's really dark. Like, space is dark in general. So there's no natural light or anything. And the lights coming from the creature's face emitting a gentle green glow, and the shoulders and thighs that also give off a glow with white X's on the center of each. As you can see, that's part of their design. Green and white is just emitting around this character and pretty much the main light source in the room. So the LEDs on its body armor give off way more light than the floor lights, and they're sort of just glowing walking through this hallway. Sorry, my voice is a little off, so I'm doing the best I can. So, suddenly, from the wall on the left side of the creature opens up a odd purple and white portal that looks as if a galaxy is spinning inside of it. A crystal of blue and gold flings out of the portal and at a decent speed because when it hit the window, it goes thunk and falls to the carpet. The creature stopped as it watched this happen, turning its head to look over the portal. A line of white on the side of its screened face opened to a triangle as if it had a jack-o'-lantern face. A LED mouth with a lightning bolt looked to it, opened in an almost shocked look. As the creature takes its large white slash mint green claws and goes to put its fluffy gray hand through the portal, another being breaks through the portal and falls onto the carpet, panting heavily. The creature had jumped back and looked down at the being who just jumped through the portal and landed almost as hard as the crystal had when it had came through the portal. The creature looked back at the wall, its four ears twitching downward, then perking up again. It noticed that the portal had vanished, as if it closed right when the unknown being came through it. The camera changes to behind the creature's feet on its right side, moving across the ground and towards the right by the large window, showing what's going on and what's in front of the character. The being on the floor stayed silent for a few seconds, not moving besides the slight movement of breathing on its back. The camera shows the glowing green face of the creature, just the creature like taking in everything that just happened. The creature's LED eyes and mouth move slightly in a glitchy kind of way, and its head tilted just a bit to the right. The camera changes to the POV of the creature so the player can see what it is seeing. It takes a step forward, kneeling beside the being, and suddenly the being on the floor turned to its left, over and raised the barrel of a black pistol to the creature's face. The being that had come from the portal gave an angry growl and started getting up. As it started standing, the creature gets up and takes a few steps back to give room between it and the other. The POV watches the other character as it speaks and moves around with the character. "Where am I and what year is it?" the masked being yelled, its voice being distorted by something that sounded mechanical. The helmet it wore was black and had a blacked-out visor. It had triangular shapes on the top of it, so it must have been something that was like the creature, but it didn't seem to speak the same language since the reply given was a mechanical sound from the creature. "Where am I, and what year is it?" the masked creature yelled again, this time taking a step forward, making the creature take another step back, holding its large paws up. After a few moments of silence, the masked character lowers the gun since it seems to notice how non-hostile the player character was. It puts its gun into a holster that was attached to its right thigh and raised their left arm up around the back of their head, pressing something behind the right ear of the helmet, which caused a shudder-like noise to start. The tint of the front visor can be seen opening into small lines that folded up into tiny little squares and started pushing out to the side of the helmet's visor. The helmet visor didn't open, though it was as if the tint had cleared itself up from the visor so the creature can be seeing who is wearing it. The face showed a wolf with ice blue eyes and pure white fur, as white as the neon lights that shined off the PC body armor. "Can you understand me?" the wolf asked. After a few seconds of silence, they speak again. "Who are you and where am I?" it asked, and the creature looked from the wolf to the crystal on the ground behind it, then back to the wolf. It raised a claw to point at the crystal on the ground. The wolf turned to look to where it was pointing and gasped, running to the crystal and scooping it up in its gloved paws. I can't believe it made it! It made it!" The being looked over the crystal in its paws and then turned its head to the PC, walking back to the front of the PC. "Does this mean anything to you?" they asked, holding up the crystal to the PC. The clawed hands of the creature come up as if it would wanted to hold it, and the wolf pulled the crystal back. I am devoted to protecting this at all costs. Do not touch," the being stated and looked at the crystal in their paws, then back to the PC. "You don't understand me, do you?" The creature went to raise their right hand to try and reach the crystal again, slowly, like that was going to change anything, and the white wolf took a step back and shook their head. No, no touching! They continued to shake their head, and the creature took a step forward, holding out its paws again, closing them and opening them over and over 3 times. Like, please give me. The masked being goes, "Can you do something with it?" The being asked, with a wondering look on their face. They looked down at the crystal that was neatly carved and glowing a soft blue with gold specks floating around under the surface. They looked up at the PC and slowly held out the crystal. As the creature let the crystal be transferred into its hands, it watched it for a few moments. The gold flakes and swirls floating around inside of it looked very majestic. The PC looks from the crystal to the NPC, then suddenly bolts off down the other side of the the hallway, basically turning around, or no, basically going past them, walking past them, like, okay, goodbye, because they're on a mission, heading out somewhere. The camera moves from the POV to following behind the PC as it walks through the ship. The wolf can be seen behind the PC character in the camera as it changes around the two characters as they go through each room. Hey, where are you going? They ask as they jog after the creature that is making haste to wherever they are headed in the ship. The creature comes into a room, the doors automatically opening as the two reach it, and then slows down as it gets to a wall of monitors and computers that are off and on. Some show codes that fly past the screen, others have blue screens, and some have dialogue input awaiting on the screen in green lettering. The camera pans from behind the NPC's left shoulder to the right and wraps around the front right of both characters, zooming out enough to see both the NPC and the PC. So, why are we here? The NPC asks, and the creature takes the crystal, placing it on a dusty desk in front of the monitors. It takes a cord from the pile of cords, and it's at its right, and plugs it into the monitor with green letters on it saying awaiting input. That is flickering occasionally. The camera shows the awaiting input screen and follows down the cord to the character's hand, stopping to see the crystal clearly at the front of it. The creature takes the other end of the cord that was not plugged in and uses the tip of one of its claws to gently run across the side of one of the 5 faces that the crystal had. Then the claw hooked something on the middle of the crystal. The camera shows the top down at the crystal. It used its claw to gently open the small flap and plug in the cord to a port that was shown under the crystal surface, basically a USB port. The camera moves away from the top down, panning upwards, like going away, and zooming out from the creature, showing the top of the creature before it moves over to show the awaiting input screen. Suddenly it starts lighting up. The screens then start glowing a bright white, and then more screens start lighting up and glowing up, and more light flooded in to the room. Suddenly all the lights in the room started flickering and lighting up, and there was sounds of shaking and loud bangs as if there was things starting up and getting powered again. The camera is now in the left back corner of the room, showing what is happening in the scene. The creature took steps back, looking around the room, its hands raised at its sides as if preparing for something to happen. The screen started smoking, and then the monitors all went dark. The port plugged into the crystal suddenly popped, and the port that was plugged into the computer exploding with a pop as well. With the pops, the creature flinched and took a step back, the noises startling it, and then looked at the crystal and walked up to it slowly. The camera now is at the left creature's shoulder, over towards its side to where you can see the face and the crystal at the same time. What was that? The masked being asked, walking up slowly to the creature's right side, looking down at the crystal too. The creature's LED face showed its lightning bolt-shaped mouth in a sort of frown at the back edge. its eyes also tilted in a way that gave a saddening expression. The NPC looked from the crystal to the creature and furrowed their brows. Was something supposed to happen? As the being asked this creature, sorry, as the being asked, the creature unplugged the crystal and closed the flap that now had visible black cracks around the almost invisible flap of the crystal's port. After a few moments of silence, suddenly a loud explosion was heard somewhere at the other end of the ship. This caused alarms to start going off with a whoop, whoop, whoop sound, and the lights in the room were still dark. Oh no. We have to leave! The being yelled over the alarm and starts running out of the room. The camera moves to the right rear of the room. The NPC can be seen running out of the door at the rear left of the room. The creature looks back at the crystal, then to the door where the NPC left. Quickly they followed with the crystal in hand. "We need a flat wall!" the wolf exclaimed, and the creature followed as they moved about the ship. As they came to the same hall that they were in before, scratching and screeching could be heard on the other doors that were in front of them. As the creature walked into the hall from the start of the scene, the same doors that the creature walked in at the start of the scene was where the sounds were coming from. The wolf wraps their backpack around from their back and opens it, looking through the small bag to find what they need. The creature stares at the door as it is seemingly being punctured with black spikes and scratched up. The edges of the middle doors not sliding open because of the lockdown, but you can tell that there's something really trying to get in. And then you start seeing the creature, whatever it is, this black inky looking creature scraping and prying at the doors. You can start seeing the doors being pried open and claws reaching in and scratching the carpet up, the hook-like appendages stabbing into the metals and trying to claw the edges of the doors open. The camera is now at the middle of the room, showing the wolf kneeling with their bag and the door being attacked. "Got it!" the masked being yelled. The camera at the right of the wolf as they set up the device on the wall. The background is a little bit blurry, showing obvious progress in the monster's entry to the hall. So what you're seeing right now is the wolf setting up this kind of device that was on the wall where the portal was in the first part. The wolf brings up a small band that has been shimmering purple. That has a shimmering purple crystal in the center of it. They take it and place it in the middle of the wall, pulling up a tablet and inputting a few things. The wall starts to fold into bits and created a clouded surface that the wall, as the wall started folding away, the tint on the visor of the wolf sort of mimicked that. So it's did have that same like folding into little boxes look to it. The wolf pulled a pistol from their thigh and shot the appendages that were starting to scrape at the black carpet and trying to claw its large body through the doors that were slowly being pried open by its strong claws. The camera is now at the left front of the character, showing the creature and the crystal behind them as they shoot their gun toward the camera. "Go into the portal, I'll be there in a moment." The camera is at the back left of the NPC, showing the whole scene from of the PC, NPC, and monster. As they stated that there is shots being thrown out from this pistol. They were shooting the limbs, trying to get the creature to back off. They look at the portal, holding the crystal in its arm. This is the creature. The creature shows a face that has a worried expression. They look at the portal. The crystal in its arm is against its chest, looking at the doors that are being breached, and then it raised its claws of its right arm and walked forward, letting its arm go into the portal, then its body. Shortly after, the creature walked out, hearing noises like beeping and screaming, but not what it was used to hearing. It was unknown noises. The camera faces the creature at its left. The creature steps out of the portal and looks from left to right, its ears perking at the noises it heard to its right. It still had the crystal in its arm and turned to look at the portal, which the white wolf came out shortly after a few moments. As suspected, the portal closed right when they exited it. The camera pans forward toward the two characters. It was still facing on the left side. As the wolf dusts themselves off and takes off their helmet, the creature holds the crystal in both of its hands and holds it out to the wolf. The wolf looks down at the crystal and takes it carefully, looking up to the creature's face. Now that the helmet's off, the voice changer is gone. So, a voice is no longer distorted and they speak. What was this supposed to solve for you? You seem sad. And it was a sweet and calming voice. The she-wolf spoke with a small smile and a tilt of her head. At least you aren't stuck out in space anymore, she said, and gave a gentle pat on the arm of the creature. The creature's expression did not change, but they looked at the arm and looked at the wolf's hand. I don't know if you can understand me, but we're not in the same plane. You are in a city, a place full of people and creatures, but not a lot of you are out here. So you need to act like everyone else. No blowing up ships and stuff, okay? The wolf asked, and as she looked at the glowing green face of the creature's visor sparkled with minty green and white specks, as if it seemed to look from her hand to her face. The expression got a little brighter and less sad. So, now that you're here, let me explain something to you real quick. You are not from here. This is a universe parallel from your own. Yours is empty and has nothing in it from what I saw. Not even power to run your dying ship. I've seen that before. Your ship was out of power and you were floating across space, weren't you? She asked, and the creature looked up to the smog-filled sky, looking back at the wolf. Now, I don't know if it's up there or where it could be, but you need to forget about that universe. It's over. This universe is the one you need to worry about now. It will be just like your other universe, but I think you are further into your years than we are here. I guess it's good to know not everyone here will survive. The camera shows each character as needed for speaking and expression, so it's going to go back and forth between the two characters. The camera is now in POV of the PC, the playable character. She stated, fixing her backpack on her back and placing her gun back into her holster on her thigh. Then she looks up at the creature for a moment before pulling something from her backpack strap on the left, a card that opened from a thin line to a holographic tab that had her credentials on it. Pretty nifty. She held it up to where the creature can see. I am Agent Gale Snow. I work for an agency here called ICCA, or ICA, the International Creature Control Agency. I'm part of the ICCU, the International Creature Control Unit. We travel to control the issues with sentient creatures that choose only violence when it comes to their path of lifestyle, like that Devastator baby we were about to be eaten by. The creature looked at the holographic tab with information and stared at it as she spoke. What she was unaware of was that the creature was looking up everything there was to know about her while she spoke. The screen in the POV now shows things going past like coding and identification software, looking at Gale's files through her agency and learning about her and the agency itself. Agent Gale Snow now states, "So, because I am part of this agency, I'm gonna have to take you with me, and I'm gonna need you to come so I can actually let them know about you. Since you seem okay and not violent, I'm sure they will be fine with your presence here. You won't be able to go back to your universe, though. That Devastator baby will grow to become massive and will eat the rest of that universe whole. At least we should have enough time before it moves to this universe. Being on the edge of each universe the Devastators have destroyed has been a hassle. Sadly, I knew it would reach here at some point. I just didn't know it would be this soon. It's only been 20 years here, and I've been through at least 10 universes, about 25 years each. And as she keeps talking to the creature, as Agent Snow spoke to the creature, she started walking, and as she spoke to it, now it seemed like the usual. The creature followed her. They walked out toward the street, and now the street can be seen with vehicles passing by and people and other creatures walking by. The screen fades to black, and as Agent Snow speaks, the audio and sound finally fades into nothing. And then that would be where we input like the game actually starting. So that is my indie track shadowing assessment. For the words that I chose on here, crystal, parallel, and agent. So I had a lot of fun actually making this. I'm hoping that I will actually be able to make this into a game. It would be really cool to make this into a game. It sounds like it'd be a fun kind of sci-fi kind of game. um, so yeah, that is the final work for that. Um, this is the concept art as I mentioned earlier. Concept art for Gale and her stuff, and then I got Minty, which is a protogen character. Um, so this is the creature. This is uh, Gale, and I have yet to make creature concepts for the Devastators, but I surely would want to take a look at it more and see if I can find something to, you know, get those creative juices flowing for that. But thank you for this opportunity to show off my work and show off what I can do with my writing, my passion for voice acting, and my experience in storytelling and creative writing, stuff like that. So that's it for what I have to present here. Thank you again, and I hope you have an amazing day. And thank you for your consideration. Bye bye.